Good morning, good afternoon, and evening, baseball fans. Welcome back to the Barstool Baseball Show. It's Carl. I am joined by Clemmer, Castellani, and Hubs, and we are doing a Mid-World Series post-Game 2, pre-Game 3 power ranking panel. I said we'd do it down to the last two teams of the season. Warrior, it's Rangers versus Diamondbacks first game. Absolute sensational second blowout city. I'm just going to come out and say, guys, I think the Diamondbacks are the better team now. I think the Diamondbacks are in control of the series. That's how I'd like to open this up. I think the Diamondbacks are in control of the World Series. I said it.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. And here's why for me is that I penciled in going into the series, the Diamondbacks would have the advantage in games 3, 4, 5, and 7. 3, because Max Scherzer stinks. 4, because I think the Diamondbacks bullpen is better for a bullpen game than the Rangers. 5, because Zach Gallen's better at home, and I believe in him. I know he's been really struggling. Maybe he is tired. This is the one I have the least confidence about. And then 7, because once again, Max Scherzer does suck. So to walk out of Texas and already have a win when you have, in my opinion, 4 games we have the advantage is huge.
It's hard not to be impressed by him. I mean, regardless of how we feel the rest of the series is going to go, it's definitely fair to say the Diamondbacks outplayed him in the first 2 games. I mean, we're one Corey Seager swing away from this thing being 2-0 going back to Arizona. They've been remarkably impressive, and they don't, at this point in the year, we're in the World Series. You got to throw out everything, whatever struggles they went through. This is a World Series team for a reason. They've pitched like it these first 2 games. Sewald blew that save. But right now, I would say if you ask any, not just Diamondbacks fan, but any player, hey, 1-1 going back to Arizona. Kelly pitched his balls off. And you know what? You're right about Gallen, Clemmer, but much better in this most recent start than he was in either of his 2 starts in the NLCS. I feel like it does, and he struggled a little bit. Bad first inning. Did technically, I believe, qualify as a quality start going back home potentially for game 5. They're closer now than they probably ever thought they'd be. I still don't know if I'd pick them in the series. We'll talk about that in a second, but man, it's hard not to be impressed with the way that they've looked in these first 2 games.
Yeah, thought Arizona in 6 to start. Still very much think that maybe they get this done in 5. Like I don't know. They just look all the part of a team that can easily win the World Series here. Like they are for real. The way that they just jumped on Montgomery and I guess those later runs were a bit tacky because Martin Perez is basically a position player at this point. But they were impressive, man. Listen, to think that they lose the game. You're telling me it's 1-1 going back to Zona. I would not think the game they lost would be like a Paul Sewald blown save, and I wouldn't think the game they won was Merrill Carroll just shoving his dick down the Rangers' throats, and the offense just coming to life there. So it's I don't know, man. It is impressive to watch what they've done, and this whole postseason. And I'm not overly impressed with Texas at the moment. And like Chris, you said, should be 2-0 Arizona. Like this series should kind of be over. 2-0 going back to Zona. I'm not giving Texas any chance. So 1-1, sure, anything can happen. But yeah, they're one Corey Seager swing away from this being 2-0. So yeah, I like Arizona coming in. I certainly like them now.
Do we have ratings, Clemmer?
I haven't seen any yet. Been focused on NFL all day, unfortunately. It's weird. I guess the LCS was weird. So the ALCS got horrible ratings, abysmal.
Yeah.
The NLCS got great ratings, which, you could point it more, obviously, toward the Philly market. Just that Philly team being likable, Bryce Harper, so you have a lot of things going for it. So that makes me a little concerned. I doubt Arizona was the reason people were watching that series so much. So it makes me a little bit concerned going in. But yeah, I'll make sure the next time we talk, I'll have a full ratings update for sure.
Okay, I'm looking now. Yeah, I don't know how long. I don't know how long does it take to come out. This isn't an instant report, is it? They like to spend a little bit of time to go through the numbers. Okay,
it's complicated. So you'll get an instant report usually from the top 30 to 40 markets. So those are obviously your biggest cities. The rural areas take a little while to come in. Think of it kind of like election day, where that can take usually about 24 extra hours. So usually you don't get a full actual idea for what the ratings are until about 48 hours after the game. That gives you a full scope of how things go.
So then, can I get round table pizza scale so far in the first 2 games of the World Series? I'm probably going to score them in the set. It's like a 7-4 to me. The first one was so good.
Yeah.
I I do like game 2. Do like when a team dominates in such a high pressure, and Merrill Kelly was fucking awesome. And like, personally, there was satisfaction because, I thought that like, that's the Diamondbacks team. I thought, like is capable of being out there. When we did the World Series preview show, I was behind the Diamond. So like to get game 2 from them to be like, all right, they bounce back. They're resilient. However, it was like, it's okay. It's like, it's still, I don't know. It's just like, it's okay. How would you score it?
I'd be about that, I think. Game 1 was sensational. That's a 10. That's one of the best World Series Game 1s you'll ever see. It's one of the best World Series games, I imagine, of the decade. Like when you wrap up the 20s, Game 1, 2023 World Series, that's tough to beat. Game 2 was a lousy baseball game. That's just a shitty game. Wasn't really ever close. Kelly, it was fun to watch. I mean, it was fun to watch from Merrill Kelly, and but like Hub said, like when you got Martin Perez, and I don't know what happened to this guy. Like I don't know if last year was just the ultimate fluke season or what, but man, oh man, like Hubs is not wrong. This is like throwing Nicky Lopez out there. It was rough. That game sucked. So yeah, I think that's fair. 7-4.
I have this, Hubs, I want to apologize, or maybe not apologize, or open up the opportunity to be sympathetic here, because I just realized how much this World Series is killing. Like every time Corey Seager gets in the box, you're just like, Brian Cashman.
Yeah, I tweeted Game 1. I didn't watch Game 2. I had a wedding. It was a good game to miss. But yeah, no, anytime Corey Seager's doing anything, it's just like, yep, we didn't even like really give that guy a chance to. I don't know. I look back every now and then to see if they actually met with him. There's nothing that says they did. They didn't just dismiss him like Harper, I guess, but there was real no interest, and that's insane. Yeah, he's awesome, man. That game one homer was fucking ridiculous.
How much more is Seager getting paid than Javi Baez?
A lot. I mean, he should be getting paid. I mean, Javi got 6 years, 140 or maybe 144, and Seager got what, 10, 324 or something? I mean,
yeah, 325.
Okay,
320. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we could have made a run at Seager too. We didn't. But yeah, I mean, it's what's weird with Seager though to me. I don't mean to turn it into the Corey Seager hour necessarily, but like the shift being banned, I feel like made him underpaid. Like, I feel like that and he was always a really good player, but I feel like that becoming a thing with the way he's lifted the ball this year, the batting average going up like 40 points. I almost feel like, I'm not going to call it a mulligan for teams that didn't sign him, but nobody knew the kind of impact that would have on his game, where he went from being a really good player to probably one of the 3 best hitters in the entire sport because of the shift being banned. And hey, took advantage of it.
I disagree, Chris.
But yeah, it was
he had a 131 OPS plus with the Dodgers. Like he was always awesome. The shift being banned, did it help? Of course it did. But like that didn't. He wasn't like a B minus hitter or a B player. He was an A minus guy that became an A plus guy. Like I don't know. In my opinion, he was always one of the top 25 players in baseball. Yeah. Now you're right, Chris. He's in the top 10, top 5.
Right. I guess we're splitting hairs at that point because I think we're essentially agreeing. But like I think he elevated himself, because to me, I've never seen a shortstop hit with the consistency and the power that he hit with this year. Now, of course, always an excellent player, NLCS, World Series MVP in the COVID year, like nothing left to prove. But I think, yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. Went from top 25 probably to top 5 with the season.
I mean, there are shortstops who have had
I think
the same,
part of it.
A-Rod in Texas was just as good. Nomar in Boston. So that, Miguel Tejada, but like maybe I'm going far back though.
Hey,
part of it too, I think. Okay. Sorry, Clemmer cut me off, so I can cut Carl. I think just a little part of it too is, in LA, like, he wasn't carrying those teams because those lineups are always like so big. Now he's the guy. Like Simeon's there too, obviously, but he's done fucking dick this October, and throughout the year he just carried that whole lineup. Like when he was out there, and another part of it too might be, and some guys get paid a ton and they don't give a shit anymore, right? And some guys get paid and it's like, oh, I owe it to the Texas Rangers here to be the guy. Like, I don't know, maybe that gives him a little boost. Sometimes that hurts people. Like, look at Javi Baez. Like, doesn't give a fuck about baseball anymore. So, I don't know. I think those two aspects might also help him become just this unreal player.
Yeah, and I was going to say about Corey Seager too at the shift. One thing that's really interesting, and whether or not Simeon's been great this October, been horrible, having a player like him in front of Seager is so helpful without the shift, because with a runner, like, you have to hold Simeon on, and then you have to play at double play depth. So then the gap on the right side of the field just becomes substantial. And I really, Seager's kind of fit into like the perfect circumstance for him to play too, because coming from the Dodgers to the Rangers has to be like a very nice change of pace for your personal level too, from being in LA to being, I would imagine.
Yeah, everything's like slower. Everything's slower for him. You know, it's like you're not going a million miles an hour. You got stuck in traffic. Like, I don't know. Everything's just better. Like, life is just better, and he gets paid a shit ton of money, and money goes even more in Texas than it does in LA. So,
and no income tax in Texas, right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Money goes more. Yeah. One quick thing, it was cool to see him have emotion. He's not a guy like Adolis is the guy on that team that really, wears his heart on his sleeve. Seager's very reserved. He went fucking nuts, and deservingly so. Like, you really don't hit a bigger home run in your career than that. Like, you have to have a special career. Hit a bigger homer than what he did. And maybe he can. But that was cool to see him just the immediate contact, knew it was absolutely blasted, going nuts. Good for him.
I have a question for you guys about that moment. Hubs, you're absolutely right. Like, that was a rare time we've seen like emotion from Seager. 2020, he won the World Series. He was World Series MVP. I don't remember him ever, being that emotive, unless I'm forgetting something.
Well, I got two points to that. One, I don't know if he ever hit one that clutch, like ninth inning tie game. And two, sorry, no fans.
You're right.
It impacted these guys. It really did. You are going to feed off of those 40,000 when you know that you just fucking deep dicked a baseball 418 feet to tie a ball game. Like, I think that it's, of course, we saw emotion in the COVID year, but it just hits different when you got a ballpark full of fans.
Really also, your fans. It's also your fans this time,
right? It's home ballpark,
a neutral site. So, like, going nuts. Yeah, I think that second part is the reason why that was so juiced up.
So then, for the Diamondbacks, then whose dick do we want to suck as hard as Corey Seager's?
Torey Lovullo.
That's my pick.
Why don't we start with Torey Lovullo? We talked a lot in the preview show if he was good enough to even like entertain a conversation with Bruce Bochy. We said no. However, Lovullo is in that next category of like great manager. And if he wins this World Series, then we can start talking about him. But like, Clemmer, how strongly do you feel about him at this point?
Bochy, what he did in game one was sensational. To go to John Gray, to get 5 outs in a high leverage situation. John Gray pitched 1 inning in the postseason, 1 inning in the last month until that moment, which was a bad inning. Bochy has the magic touch. Gray strikes out 4 of the 5 outs he needs, and it saves the game. It was huge. It was one of the greatest managerial kind of bizarro moves I had seen in a long time. It was incredible. And then on the flip side, Lovullo does exactly right by Kelly. Doesn't leave him in too long. He's in just the right time, able to kind of save that bullpen, and ends up pitching Saalfrank a little bit, gets his confidence hopefully up a little bit. That team had no rattling. Like, they just lost this crushing game in game. I mean, that, like Hubs was saying, if they win that game, they win game 2, the series is over. That team, that Diamondbacks team, they came back to play game 2 like nothing had happened. Like, that has to be, I mean, obviously they're playing baseball, and I'm always the first one to say that. It's just a game. But at the end of the day, though, you can get a little shell-shocked. We've seen it before with Mitch Williams, or, we go through the laundry list of guys who have choked in the postseason and are rattled. And I didn't see any big eyeballs on that Diamondbacks team. I didn't see anyone that was a deer in headlights. I saw a professional team, a young team out there ready to play. You got Evan Longoria sack bunting and then hitting a ball the next time up where the third baseman would have been, but the third baseman then cheated in because he thought he was going to bunt. Stuff like that is like, oh, shit. Like, that's all Lovullo. It's all Longoria. It's just a smart team playing heads-up baseball and never gets rattled. These are 2 awesome managers.
You can tell Evan Longoria is literally willing to do anything possible, like to help this team at this point in his career. It's like, you want me to lay down a bunt? Cool. You want me to slide into first base? You want me to try to swipe a bag? I'll do it. It's like, he's one of those players who numbers wise, nothing's going to blow you away. But it's like, I guarantee you if they win the World Series, every player on that team is going to be like, dude, we don't do it without Longoria on the roster here. He just knows. He's been there.
Do you guys think Gabby Moreno, or would you give it to
Tommy Pham?
Tommy Pham was 4 for 4 with 2 bombs in game 2.
Do you guys see what Tommy Pham did? Tommy Pham had a chance to go 5 for 5, and he gave up his at-bat to Jace Peterson because he wanted Jace Peterson to get a chance to play in the World Series. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. That's an amazing story. How did Jace Peterson end up on these Diamondbacks? I thought he was.
I didn't know he was.
Had no idea he was on the roster. 0.
He played though.
None. Clemmer, you mentioned. I think it was Clemmer. My brain scrambled. John Gray.
Yeah.
He looked so good that I would trust him as like my third guy out of the pen moving forward. It would be Leclerc, Spores, and then him. Like that's how I would just use him. Like I couldn't believe what I was watching. His stuff plays so much better out of the pen. Now, like most starters, like have it tick up, but like I was like, whoa.
Well, I'm very certain. I mean, Scherzer's leash is going to be so short in Game 3.
Yeah,
I bet we're going to see a fair amount of. It sounds weird to put it this way. It's almost as if Game 1 was an audition tape for what could happen later in the series. Like, hey, he got us 5 big outs in a game we ended up winning. Scherzer just looks toast right now. I mean, one time through the order, and then maybe get him into that third inning. And then you could kind of do that piggyback start, which you've seen them do multiple times this postseason, sometimes with Dunning. Maybe you can do it with Gray. I mean, Gray's always had excellent stuff. I mean, even going back to Colorado. So the idea of
he was like a number 1-2 pick overall. It was between him and Chris Bryant. He's like a legendary arm. Arm.
No, he was top prospect for a long time. It's like, he had the bad luck of having to pitch in Colorado. But like, yeah, I could see him being an unsung hero.
Gray
in this
had
series.
a great first half, too. He just got hurt. And to Hubs' point, I was thinking exactly the same thing. I'm like, motherfucker, Bochy did it. He needed another guy in the pen. He just got it. He just created one out of thin air, like magic. It was amazing. And Hubs is right. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I would use him now. I don't know, like maybe even ahead of Chat, or like maybe.
Oh no!
Well, what about the 2 outs from Will Smith? Will Smith hasn't pitched in 2 weeks. He got 2 outs from Will Smith.
Will Smith's good.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Will
trust
Smith,
him.
I believe in. The Gray thing just shocked me because he just had. You're right, Carl. You're absolutely right. But like just the John Gray thing just really blindsided me, and I'm like, oh my god, he just managed to get a 7th or 8th inning guy now out of thin air. Incredible, which is exactly what I thought the Rangers needed. They didn't have, and now they have it. Yeah, it definitely makes the series more interesting, and that's all on Bootsy and Gray.
Well, we shit on. I'm sorry, we had shit on Cody Bradford too. He had a scoreless inning in that game.
Yeah,
and when I say shit on Cody Bradford, we had just joked around about like, is he your Game 3 starter? This is before we knew Max Scherzer was coming back. So, I really do, Clemmer. I appreciate the analysis off the top where you said I like them more in games 3, 4, 5, and 7. So who is Game 6? That's them back in Texas against Montgomery
and Kelly again. Yeah.
So
the one game you don't like, is the game Errol Kelly's pitching,
right? So even that, I think you have I just think the Rangers at home is tough, but like no, it's a great point, Carl. I have a question for you guys. Now the Rangers have used Dane Dunning twice. We saw John Gray in Game 1 be used. And obviously Martin Perez, who's just setting stuff on fire. Who do you have start Game 4? How do you work that game through?
You start Andrew Heaney,
and then go to Dunning,
and you let Heaney throw. You hope Heaney can get. I'm just spitballing here. You hope Heaney's a good matchup for Corbin Carroll. Marte slugs better from the right side, but he's got a higher OBP from the left side, I believe. So
I gotta say this: if you're starting a sentence with "I hope Andrew Heaney's a better matchup than," you're in a lot of trouble. That's not a good situation.
You're correct. In his defense, though, he was more than serviceable in the ALDS start against the Orioles. Now
this isn't the Orioles. This is won multiple series,
and we saw Heaney.
He got lit the fuck up.
Yesterday.
He got fucking lit.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, Heaney, what, a third inning, 3 runs, that other start. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. It's fucking madness.
It can't be Dane Dunning, can it?
Dude, all these things that we're talking about, it just favors Arizona.
Yeah, man.
All plays in Arizona's hand. That's why, you can't expect Max to go 4+ tomorrow. You just can't, but you almost have to because of what awaits in Game 4. Like, you can't afford to tax the pen. And then Game 5, obviously it's Nate, but that puts a fucking ton of pressure on Nathan Eovaldi to like be Nathan Eovaldi. Otherwise,
against Zach Gallen at home.
Then you're pitching Martin Perez and getting real outs. Yeah. So I don't know. I think all this shit favors Arizona. Vegas has it currently. I think they're like plus 105 to win the series. So yeah, I don't know. I thought 6. It might be 5. I don't fucking. If Scherzer's that bad on game 3, like this is very bad for Texas.
Game 3 right now is a pickup.
As it should be.
I'm shocked
because Texas still on paper is the better team, but like all the pitching and shit favors Arizona.
It's a pick 'em.
Yeah, and I think
Arizona should be favored. I think Arizona should be plus 130, plus 140. I know it wouldn't be, but I know the name Max Scherzer.
Well, I think that's maybe a little bit towards Fott being still unknown, and you don't know what Fott you're going to get. Like you saw good Fott in the NLCS. What's World Series?
And also, I think Max Scherzer is like a public name. Like that's going to then draw the line more toward the Rangers. But I was just shocked. I mean, I'm beating a bet on it. Like I just have so much more confidence in the Diamondbacks.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to put it. I have so much more confidence in the Diamondbacks. And then I would like to hopefully there's some clarity at the end of the season. I'll have some time. I get to sit down because each week when we do the power ranking show, and then we would think about like, okay, well, when you get to October, is any of this stuff really going to matter? And how well the Diamondbacks have played and how much resiliency they've shown. How many games did they win this season?
84.
Yeah, great. 84
the third
games.
lowest by any World Series team.
Yeah.
So how do you rationalize them playing well and us being so confident right now? And then at the end of the night, your head hits the pillow and you're like 84 wins.
It's just, I mean, it does favor the side of the MLB owners who are like, let's just get in the playoffs and it's a crapshoot. Does. Just does. Texas, the other side, though. Spend money, you get here. It's such an interesting dynamic.
I think that what we're seeing, and the Phillies were like this last year as well, is that in some ways that first round can provide you with some momentum where if you get past that the divisional series, you can become a tough train to stop. Because I know even with the Woodruff injury, I still like the Brewers in that series, but they got into the DS. That was a favorable matchup, tough against the Dodgers. But when you looked at the way the Dodgers pitching was lined up, hey, they have a legitimate shot. And I think all of a sudden it's like, hey, Arizona's 5-0 in the postseason. Once you get that ball rolling, especially with a young jumpstart team like this, it's kind of hard to stop it. I also think, and I know that I believe they had a negative run differential. I'd have to check. They were better than their record. They had a month-long stretch where they just could not play baseball. But they were early, I remember as late as June, we were talking about them like relatively high up in the power rankings. They just had that stretch where they really kind of fell apart, and then they found it again. So it's just one of those weird anomaly teams. Yeah.
So I think the way they're built, and I probably should have had more respect for this going into the playoffs, is that they're built more for the postseason than I had anticipated. You have 2 frontline starters, Gallen and Kelly, and Brandon Pfaadt. Look. His year as a total, I've said I blogged about it, was horrible. But since August, and I did put that in the blog, since August, his ERA was about 4, which is averagey. That's all right. That's workable. You don't have to worry about your 4th and 5th starters as much, obviously, in the playoffs. So that you almost have like a different team going into the playoffs than you might in like regular season. Like the Orioles had great depth in the rotation, stuff like that, and so did the Phillies. But like. Right. At the end of the day, you only really need 3 really good arms and roll. And the Diamondbacks have that. And that's how they're here.
Yeah, I really like the impact Corbin Carroll has, too. And hopefully the implication that'll have league-wide over the next decade as teams promote their young guys and feature their young guys. The Diamondbacks did not hesitate. Not to say that they're, like Corbin Carroll didn't earn it or anything, but like he came up, he's in the lineup, he's their guy. They gave him an extension. They just like, and this is a benefit of this. This is a reward of this. I hope other teams are paying close attention because so much of baseball historically has been, we know you're supposed to be good, kid, but that's not how this game works. And they hold the young players back, or the clubhouse is difficult to young guys. I mean, go back to like the 90s and the early 2000s, not even too long ago. Like it wouldn't matter how good you were at all. Like just the culture of Major League Baseball is, hey, rookie, you little bitch. And like something just strikes me about this Diamondbacks team is like, yeah, go say that to Corbin Carroll. I don't think you would, dude. He's the one doing everything for you guys. And like there is some general level of sense of, like we talked about in Longoria being in that clubhouse. Like, that's about as OG, fucking long-standing, long-tenured veteran status as it gets in Major League Baseball right now. And that he's like probably has just fostered an unbelievable environment that allow these guys to thrive. Sal Franca had 10 regular season innings. I guarantee he's comfortable. Gabby Moreno, this is his first full season as a regular catcher. He's 23, probably walking around feeling the way, maybe not a JT Real Muto, but he's not too far away from feeling like I am an everyday big leaguer 3-hitter. This is who I am. And that's something that's a lot of the credit I would give to the Arizona Diamondbacks, is having that environment, which then goes back to who? A guy I love. He doesn't even know me. His name's Torey Lovullo. I fucking love that guy.
Let's think about the biggest impact players in baseball history that a rookie has had. And I put Corbin Carroll in this very short camp. I have 1936 Joe DiMaggio. I have...
What did he do? What did he do?
Incredible
Like, why would you put 36 DiMaggio?
Unbelievable season.
Okay.
Like right out of the chute, DiMaggio was amazing. And I'm not talking to, I'm talking about like guys who had like impact to where their teams were great. Like obviously McGuire had 49 home runs, but that A's team sucked, or the average. But I'm saying you got Fernando Valenzuela in 81. You got DiMaggio in 36. I mean, no Fred Lynn in 75, but he had Jim Rice with him. Carroll's alone as a rookie. And then you have Longoria, believe it or not, was it 09? 08? Excuse me. 08, you're right, Chris.
08, yeah.
Like, those were, Pujols had a great rookie year too, but that Cardinals team didn't make it to the World Series. That's the company we're talking about here. Fernando Valenzuela, Joe DiMaggio, Corbin Carroll. Like, that's how amazing and how much of an impact this guy is. Imagine what his career is going to look like. What's it all going to... Is he going to be like Longoria, where he, maybe this is his only time and he's a veteran at the end? Or is he going to be a guy that goes 4 or 5 times and is the Hall of Fame? I think it's the latter.
I think it's Hall of Fame. Can we all just stop for a second and just I know Clemmer doesn't believe in the baseball gods, but I would just like to, as a group, offer up some kind of praise to the gods for giving us Corbin Carroll, and please keep him healthy for the next decade. Please let us watch him play 140 games a season, 150 games, please, because to your point, Clemmer, I have no idea. He's the only player in Major League Baseball history to hit 25 home runs and steal 50 bases. Could he get to the point where he steals 100 bases and hit 50 home runs?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. And also, Ichiro, you got to put in there, but Ichiro's team didn't make the World Series either. Like, this is what we're talking about. This is how rare air Corbin Carroll is. Like, this is how, from a baseball historical perspective, we are in. This is almost uncharted territory. Longoria didn't win the World Series. DiMaggio did. Valenzuela did.
Yeah, and talk about uncharted territory, man. Mike Hazen deserved an extension solely on the backs of that Corbin Carroll contract. How about that? I mean, Acuna's up there, the most team-friendly deal right now in sports.
Can we repeat it? Is it 10 years 70 or 10 years 100? I thought he got 100
I'm going to look it up right now. I'm pretty sure he got 100.
Okay, so I remember that deal getting announced, and I was with a group. I was with minor league players at the Waste Management Open. I was with Jordan Lawler, like his agent, and a bunch of other couple guys. It's a long story of how I've poached my way into this conversation. But I was asking them, dude, how, why, what? And you have absolutely no idea how good this kid is. Good? Really good? So good. The amount of praise, peer praise. I think peer praise is pretty rare too. Like in baseball, it's not like those guys are like, yeah, whatever, he's fine. We're all fine. We're all good. But he was getting he was, what do you got there for me, Castellani?
8 years, 111 million.
Corbin Carroll is going to make $14 million in 2028.
How much do you think he's worth? Hubs, how much would you let Brian Cashman?
Nah, if he was a Yankee, his shoulder injury would have needed surgery by now, and he'd be a lost cause. So it's better off for Corbin to stay in Arizona. 100%.
Do you guys like talking about what baseball players look like? I'm really interested in a baseball player face and a body and the hair, and I just really like that stuff. And Corbin Carroll's got such an old man face and such a young body. That goatee. I love that he's a Seattle guy with a fucking nasty little goatee and the hair flipping out of the helmet. it's so kind of like grungy and perfectly Seattle. That's what I
Now
would
you
say.
asked about Corbin Carroll,
Yeah,
like how much you pay him. Assuming the shoulder checked out if I did a physical, I'd give him 15 years, $1 billion. If I was a big market team, I would give him $1 billion. With a B.
I did mention the shoulder.
No, wait, you're not even like trying to get me to react. You are being dead serious.
No,
right
you're
now,
being serious.
Homer.
Yeah.
How old is he?
23.
This is his age 22 season.
Jesus.
No.
He's so good.
You'd have him through 37 years old. And what is that? 67 million a year.
I'm trying to do the math.
I think it's 67. No, it's not. It's more. Yeah, it's 67 million.
66.66.
Ooh.
That would be an ominous. You don't want to be paying a
I'd give
guy.
him 1.0001.
What other players in baseball? Is there any other young player in baseball that you'd rather have than Corbin Carroll right now?
At his age?
At any position in baseball, age 23 or younger. And we're thinking, guys. I'll fill some dead air for the audience.
Ginkel's 29, so he can't.
By the way, hey, I will fill it. Ginkel, 10 innings in the postseason, 14 strikeouts, 3 walks. Obviously, no earned runs. 10 scoreless appearances for Ginkel.
Torrey botched by not letting him go in the ninth.
I mean, I don't think there's even an answer here. I mean,
okay.
I can't think of any. I mean, a few years ago.
No.
A few years ago, Juan Soto would have been my answer, but he's graduated out of that.
Whenever Holiday comes up, he'll be the answer.
I mean, I couldn't.
Probably.
I mean, I have to pick. Carroll's a World Series impact player, and as much as Holiday might be awesome,
Right.
we know Carroll can be awesome.
Yeah. No,
I think Jackson Holiday might end up being the greatest baseball player of all time.
Yeah,
it might be something. And I might think it'd be something that we were talking about, like 50 games into his career, where we're like,
shit,
holy. Like every single thing that you can say positive about a baseball player has been said about this kid.
Yeah.
And I think he's like just starting to figure it out too. Like I think he's just coming into his own as like a man.
Look at what scouts say about his hit tool. It's like it's so concerning. It's just like nothing I want to deal with.
Oh, and you're in that division. You gotta like actually deal with that.
He's scary.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to figure out a way to realign.
They're going to.
How far?
They're going to realign everything, I think, in like 3 or 4 years. So maybe you'll be.
Yeah, send them west or something.
Okay, so let's
Baltimore west.
Can I ask you guys? So then, can we just realign some divisions quickly? Would the Mets and the Yankees would it be Mets, Yankees, Red Sox?
That's been a theory. I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
I don't think so either. I think they keep Mets and Yankees separate for some reason.
I do worry that Manfred hits so good with the rule changes that he's like, watch me. I'm going to do the next one.
Like Philly, Mets, Red Sox, Yankees would be amazing.
Remember, though, we might be including Montreal and Nashville in this. So, it's going to happen with extension.
Montreal and Detroit and Toronto would be a great division.
Toronto and Detroit need to be in the same division.
They absolutely do. You guys are so close to each other.
Yeah, it's stupid that they ever left. Yeah, it was a great rivalry in the 80s.
And you guys could throw the Pirates into that.
Yeah.
I would like a cool historic division of the White Sox, Cubs, Reds, Cardinals.
Wow. That would be
Each team in there is like an original 19th century team. That just gives me the chills saying that back.
You see, what I think they're going to end up doing, though, is if we get 2 more expansion teams, I think they do 2 8-team divisions in each league. I don't think they do the 3, because then the 2 division winners would get the buys in the first round of the postseason. So, which I'd be fine with. It puts a little bit more emphasis on winning your division, makes it a little bit more important. You're not going to have 85 win division winners, which I think would be kind of a cool idea.
I think you're absolutely right, Chris. And I think that's exactly what they're going to end up doing. Either that, or they'll go the other way and have 4 4-teamers.
14. Yeah, you could do that too. Oh my God.
All right.
Well, generally, I want to support all of it. So whatever, as long as this is where I'm at with Major League Baseball. I'm satisfied with the ALCS, NLCS playoffs as a whole has gotten much better. I very much enjoyed the season. We should not ignore the fact this week that the news came out that attendance is up almost 10%, the greatest increase in nearly 30 years. And if you go back 30 years, we're talking about pre-strike era baseball. So this is a pretty special time for baseball since then. Just like generally speaking, am very bullish about the future of baseball. And I hope we as a group and people collectively out there as baseball fans can respect the strides baseball's made, particularly in the last year, 2 years. So if we talk about division realignment, adding teams, changing rules, I haven't been let down. I got let down in that holdout. I got let down in the way they handled COVID. I've been let down generally in how they market the players and the relationship between owners and players. But from a league standpoint, not the owners, the league office, the commissioner, Rob and Theo, and the moves and the changes that they've made towards baseball have been positive. And if they are in the interest of Nashville and Montreal and growing this and expanding this, they have my full faith and endorsement. I'm not going to sit here and cherry pick these guys over one or two simple mistakes. The pitch clock has been fucking awesome. The rule changes have been awesome. And I think whatever little combination is coming out of Rob Manfred's office of who's kind of behind making these decisions, whether it's Theo and other guys coming together, it's been positive. I like it. And I want to be on record fully as supporting it. You guys are welcome to come with me, but I'm not going to make anybody do it.
No, I mean, I'm with you completely. Yeah. I mean, I think we've been on board with it early on. Yeah.
Everything else I'm fine with.
Really? Yeah, I could. The only problem I would have with that is that the pitchers themselves, you have split between some of the pitchers that would be like, they don't want to hit. And that's where I'm like, all right, if this guy doesn't want to hit, I kind of gotta. The problem with the DH is it fucks with roster turnovers and it limits opportunities. If you got rid of the DH, you'd get a lot more position players in baseball because there are so many guys that get to extend their careers. 600-700 plate appearances a year are given to guys that absolutely should not have tooled themselves out of baseball. They don't run, they don't throw, they don't play defense, but they're still going to end up getting whatever that is, 8%, 9% of the teams.
DH to get gone because then Giancarlo would just retire. So that would be sick.
He's the perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Is he a Major League Baseball player?
No,
he's not at all.
No.
So World Series.
No, DH
What else we got, boys? This is a World Series power ranking show. We have the Diamondbacks over the Rangers. Do we want to finish with a confidence interval of how much are they over? If you guys had to how many spots are actually between these teams? I know there's only 2 teams left, but say it was a full smorgasbord. Would you say the Diamondbacks would be?
I don't even know. How do you answer that? I don't agree with.
I don't. Yeah, I have Diamondbacks.
I don't know. Listen, they both made the World Series. They're pretty fucking close to even. It's 1-1. It's pretty. Texas attacked Arizona's strength and one game won that way, and game 2, Merrill Kelly. It's weird. They're things I thought they were weaknesses or strengths.
It's only been 2 games too.
It's only been 2 games, but it hasn't. These games haven't played out the way I thought they would. But they've resulted in the way I thought they would. I feel like Arizona's in a very good spot, and they have to be very confident with themselves. I don't know if this was briefly mentioned. I may have zoned out. But Mike Maddox, his words with Tommy Pham, we talked about Arizona's number 1 plan would be to not piss off Adolis Garcia. Torey Lovello, Evan Longoria, those feels like guys who will use Mike Maddox's words there to fuel the rest of the team moving forward. And that was a very bad decision by Mike Maddox to do that. That just feels like you don't need to give a young, confident team in Arizona fuel like that. So Torey is a good enough manager that he will put that on the bulletin board, and they will fucking use that. And maybe I don't know, they'll drop it in some post game quotes or whatever. They really care about it. So I think that was just a big mistake.
Does that matter?
Maddox.
Agreed.
Why?
Yeah, I think so.
They're not going to try to win anymore. It's the World Series.
No, but it just I don't know. It just helps you lock in more. You just want to avoid giving teams edges in any time. It just doesn't work well for you. And I don't really get what Mike Maddox. I mean, I guess he didn't know it was on camera. But I don't know. They're just is that going to be an end all be all? No, but it's just something that
I think it's almost a fan narrative to an extent.
No,
I don't think so.
No, and the reason I'm saying that is because. Okay, so now this is where we come back to proof statistically is not the question. If you're asking me, can I prove conclusively that it matters? And I'm not going to say yes. The question is, do I think? And I think it matters because I think that the general egos and ultimate sensitivities around this sport are higher than either A, people would believe me, C, other sports, D, more than I can explain appropriately. The diva factor across baseball is very
NBA.
big. And these guys have
NBA has
What?
the biggest diva. Like, what are we like?
Yeah, you
No,
almost can't even
no.
count NBA though.
No, the chips at MLB. No. NBA players are way fucking cooler than baseball players. Don't even put me down that path. NBA players are fucking. Those guys are fucking laid back, chill as fuck. Baseball players, dude, they take everything so personally, and I'm not even
Durant has
talking
like
about
9,000 burners. What are we doing here?
Yeah, that's one guy. He ain't representative of the NBA at all in the least bit. But he is represented more how baseball players are. Blocking guys, you don't understand how hard it is. I'll stand by that tremendously, that it's much easier to like motivate a baseball player by disrespecting them because they're so inclined to feel disrespected. I think it's because to get to that point, you have to watch so many other people fail in front of you. We can argue about this later. Let's turn it over to the audience.
Oh,
Who do
they'll
you
all
think's
agree
got
with
bigger
you.
divas, the
Because
NBA
it's
or
a
Major
fan
League Baseball?
narrative.
Yeah, I'm not going to side with you there. That's definitely the NBA.
Oh, the NBA
But,
thing,
like,
yeah. The
I
fans
do-
might-
I
I
do-
think they're going to agree with you, Carl, that like this does matter. I think people do, but I like to question
does.
thoughts like that. Like why? Like it's the World Series. They're going to try so hard anyway. Like if you need motivation in the World Series, then you probably aren't going to be there.
No, I'm not saying like they don't need they need motivation. I agree with you there, but like I've just learned like don't give teams edges. Just don't fucking do it. When the Yankees played New York in the ALDS against Boston, that just swung the series completely. Like you just don't give teams edges when you don't have to. Now this is a little different because this is like an in-game like reaction, so it's not exactly like Mike Maddox said something in like a post-game like he just got caught. But I don't know. It's just something interesting to follow. It's another storyline.
Yeah, it's fun from a dramatic standpoint for sure.
I thought I was catching the Jets game in real time. Did they win or
won.
lose?
It was amazing
won.
win.
It was
Amazing
It was,
kick because the Bears are about to
It was
kick.
the worst
It was
game ever.
ugly.
It was
Yes.
amazing.
Dude,
win.
It was the ugliest game of all time.
I described it as if Army and Navy played in the NFL.
Carry on. That's great.
I venture to throw 7 scoreless.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying that because we're wrong about it. It's like if we can be wrong about something, we're gonna be wrong. That's just the way it is.
I just don't know if he's capable right now with how little time he had to get back and what we've seen so far from him and stuff wise and how locked in the Snakes look. Just don't know if there's a path for him to throw 6 innings here. Like it's just
I'm with
4
you.
innings
Hugs.
feels like a max.
Let's say he goes 1 run, 4 innings. Bochy might just pull him because he doesn't want to expose him to the hitters, knowing he might have to pitch a game 7, and also just like doesn't want. I don't know. I don't, like Hub said, I don't really see a path to him going 7 innings. But I've been wrong about 8 million times as opposed to.
Yeah, I do wonder what his max is in Bochy's mind. Is that more of just a feel thing? How are you feeling after every inning? Give me a nod. All right, just like you're not looking at pitch count necessarily.
I bet Scherzer's probably one of the hardest guys Bochy's ever had to manage. Because Bochy probably comes into this with so much respect for him, and Scherzer's probably got so much respect for him, and he just doesn't know how to be like, hey, dude, no. And I don't think Bochy would tell that. But you know what? Maybe Scherzer would be more honest with Bochy because of who he is, but Scherzer seems to me like the type of guy who just, it's my way or the highway. Was he like that with Buck?
So wait, he pitched game 7, right? NLCS?
Yeah, or ALCS, yeah.
ALCS. I noticed something when he got taken out in that game. 4th inning? I forget what it was. There was no fight back. He was totally like, and I think maybe coming back from this injury and everyone just is on the same page with where he needs to, what he can give you and all that. It feels like there isn't that normal bite back that maybe you saw with the Mets or anyone for that matter beforehand where, be like, I'm not coming out of this fucking game. Like, you kidding? Like the disrespect for you even walk out of this mound. It feels like maybe the Bochy factor there, obviously so much respect for him, but also just accepting the situation of like what he can give at this point. There's not really that fight back.
Yeah, and as far as the Buck thing, he wasn't this bad with the Mets. Like he's hurt. He's pitching injured, and he's atrocious. I think back to that game 7, so many of those pitches were just fat right over the plate. He's lucky he didn't get tattooed more. Like that the Astros did him a favor. They were hacking pretty early at times. Must have, in fairness, the Astros probably just looked so sweet. How do you lay off? I think this could be disastrous for the Rangers. But like I said, I've been wrong about 8.
Him being hurt though is better than some of the other options they have. I think 3 innings of a hurt Max Scherzer is better than 3 innings of a healthy Cody Bradford to start a major.
What is Clemmer? What's Max's outs tomorrow? Over under outs?
Yeah,
12 and a half.
No, it was more. It was more than 5. It was 14 and a half.
No.
What? Fod is 13 and a half.
Pound the over for Fod. Pound that baby.
Yeah, I'm on the over for Fod. I'm on the under for sure.
So that's
absolutely
out into the 5th.
Yeah,
out into the 5th.
14 is recording the 5th out, or is getting to the 5th inning.
That's a lot for Max.
Yeah.
You think Max Scherzer's completing 5 innings of baseball tomorrow? You're out of your goddamn mind.
That's a lot. I don't almost say it. 3 innings feels like a lot because they're even here and they can't afford. Or is the logic maybe that because the bullpen game awaits in Game 4, that like they almost are forced to like let him go a little bit here?
That's why I have like an inkling of just being a little nervous. Is that the Rangers are going to be like
that? Now makes me think that they're going to give him a little bit more. Like, obviously it's the World Series. You don't want to punt games, or not to say they're going to, but you're maybe more inclined to give him more here earlier in the series. So you don't burn the pen.
Yeah,
maybe
the line has not changed. It is still 14 and a half.
Actually, maybe now I'm thinking the over would be the bet, but I'm not taking that bet. That is a crazy.
I'm taking the under, and I'm taking the over on Fott at 13 and a half.
Yep.
Well, boys, it's been an absolute pleasure, as it always is on Sunday nights. This is the Barstool Baseball Show. It's the Power Ranking Panel. I told you we'd do it with 2 teams left in the season. It's the Arizona Diamondbacks 1. It's the Texas Rangers 2. It's the World Series week. Maybe by the next time you guys hear from us, it is the end. No, Game 7 will be played on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed the Power Ranking Panel. We'll send this year because it's been fun for us. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.